Hello Virgo, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section we'll be looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation, and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Virgo. We're going to jump on in. We're going to start with overall energy, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. So let's start with looking at your side of this connection toward the person you're dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. I also want to mention that I've started posting weekly general readings, a few times a week to my Instagram and TikTok accounts that are not being posted on YouTube. The YouTube readings will stay the same though. So if you're interested in those, the account information is below. All right, you have trapped. Ooh, euphoria and detachment. You are in an, oh, this is interesting. Oh, whoa. Okay, it's like you feel trapped. Detachment is the key to that lock. Interesting. Okay. This is one of those connections that I feel felt really, really good until it didn't. And I know that that sounds very like, I don't know, vague, I guess, but I do. I feel like in the beginning, it felt like this euphoria energy, almost like this dream come true, not being able to, think straight because it was so invigorating. And then I don't necessarily know what happened, but I do feel that things ultimately fell apart in some way, or did it end up like that went away. That really good feeling went away. And now you're kind of in this energy of wanting to get back to how things were and feeling very stuck in how things are. And I think that that has put you in a really difficult position because you especially if this is like, oh my gosh, I've never experienced anything like this before, right? Like you feel like you've been working really hard to get things to feel this way again. But yeah, it's kind of kept you trapped in an experience of not having what it is that you need and deserve. And remember, this is just overall energy, so we'll dive deeper into it with tarot. But let's look at this person's energy towards you. Whoa. Okay. Euphoria again. Man, there's a lot. So this person felt the same way. And I feel like that might be one thing that you're wondering too, like, was it real? Were they faking? I don't feel like they were. There's synchronicity. Oh my goodness, these cards are coming out so weird. Divine timing. So this divine timing card is kind of giving me this energy of divine protection. I feel like, because I don't necessarily know what happened, but I do feel like there was some sort of withdrawal or distance that was created, and I don't know where it's stemming from. But with this synchronicity card, I do feel like it's like they're constantly reminded of this connection, or like they're thinking about you more than you think that they are in some way, or like they care about this more than you think, or something like that. It's not that they just like absolutely don't care. I feel like there's something going on in this energy. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is necessarily referring to or talking about, but I feel something. I feel something. All right, let's see. Truth of this connection. Maybe this is where it'll start to come through. It's like... surrender. Yeah, because I knew there was separation. I felt it. Surrender. Oh my goodness. These cards are being so weird in this reading. Optimism. Deja vu. I feel like you were blindsided in some sort of way. And this person, like, I don't know if it was like a departure or a rejection or what, but it feels like it went from like this euphoria energy to something that was very like a crash, almost like a shock. And I feel like there's really a lot of trying to make sense of what happened, and maybe that's why you feel trapped right now. Is it's like, I don't know what went wrong. Things felt so good. I thought things were going well. And then just, you know, this huge shift. Because, yeah, optimism, but then deja vu. So it was like, I felt like I was optimistic about where things were headed. And then just like deja vu was like this experience of being left or being rejected or being betrayed in some way. It was like I thought you were different, but you ended up being the same. Like that kind of energy is what it feels like. I literally have no idea what happened here. But this is just overall energy. So I feel like we'll get deeper. I try to repeat that as much as possible. It's just overall energy. If it sounds vague, it's because it is. We're going to dive into this story with tarot. I just like to kind of know what I'm walking into. Plus, I feel like it helps me get deeper to understand like the overarching energies at play. Let's get the overall theme here, Virgo. What are you needing to know about this? It's like you were blindsided by them in a good way, and then you were blindsided by them in a bad way. It was so wonderful, and then it just so wasn't. But the feelings were mutual, so I don't know what the hell happened. Ignoring the pain. Some people never change. Unlocked potentials. What in the world? This ignoring the pain, I feel like, is them. Because there's almost this mask of like pretending not to care, and that's why I said I feel like they do care more than you think that they do, or they do think about you more than you think that they do. Because yeah, I feel like based on how they acted, it feels like they just like straight up did it. Maybe even it feels like they never cared, but I do feel like they did. However, there is something blocking this, and I don't know what it is, but with this some people never change card, I feel like there is some sort of a pattern for them that's showing up here in this connection, meaning that, you know, I think when we're often blindsided by the way that people treat us or the things that they do, we often think like, oh my gosh, it was me. I feel like there's more to this story. I feel like you don't have the full picture. And I feel like having the full picture might really help you get to a place of, I don't know if it's necessarily closure or like acceptance or clarity, so that you can ultimately move forward to what it is that you do deserve, whether that ends up being them or not. So I don't know. I'm honestly feel like I'm just as confused as you are now right now, but we'll dive into this. Let's see, Virgo. Detachment with trapped. One more? No? Okay. Virgo side of this connection. Oh my goodness, yeah, because there's the Five of Cups, the Queen of Cups in reverse. There's a lot of disappointment, a lot of grief. It's almost like they ended up letting you down, like everyone else has let you down. Like, and that goes back to what I said, feeling like they were different and then things ending up the way that they did. And I still feel like with this Queen of Cups in reverse, I still feel like this brings out, like this affected you more than I feel like connections have affected you in the past. Is that in reverse? Oh yeah, it's like, because the Chariot was what you thought. It's like things are moving forward, things are developing, things are good. What the heck? So what else is for Virgo's energy here? Let me uncover more of what's going on, because I do feel like there's something Spirit's trying to bring through, but I'm not quite able to gather it yet. Virgo's side of this connection. If you watch my readings, you're used to how I shuffle. I don't know what. The energy is just so all over the place in this. The Strength in reverse. The Page of Swords. Let's see, let's get one more. The Five of Wands in reverse. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit because I think that it'll help me to kind of bring through what's coming through. In the beginning, you and this person met, and it feels like it was a very instant thing. It was a very instant connection, and like kind of with the Page of Swords, like almost this level of comfortability that you've never really had with another person, or maybe like with another romantic person, or whatever the case might be. It is like you could immediately be your authentic self. And I think that you did, because you felt very comfortable here. You opened up and you really let this person in, and you saw there was a lot of optimism surrounding this, like so much excitement, so much optimism about where this was headed. And then out of nowhere, Strength in reverse, which this Strength in reverse is all about, feeling not good enough, questioning one's worth, or feeling like this lack of confidence, where it felt like something that this person did made you kind of go, there was something about me that they like didn't like. So that this almost feels like a feeling of rejection, like feeling very rejected, feeling as if, they got to know who you really were, and then eventually, just left. But I don't feel, and I see why you're viewing things through that lens, but I feel like there's more to this. I really do. And I feel like it has less to do with you than you think. This Five of Wands in reverse, I feel like it kind of feels that you in this connection were so excited about where this was headed that it does feel, in a sense, things went really fast. And it's almost like there wasn't any time to like stop and pause and to check in with yourself and make sure like you were good and you felt secure. I felt like there was just so much. And I think when you know, right, you move fast with the right person. But I also feel like there's something about that plays into this. Like maybe you didn't know certain things about them that ended up being issues later on. Like, I don't know. But it feels like things developed so quickly. It feels like this whole thing just happened so fast. It's like instant, and then there was this building, and then just like this separation that happened, and it was just like whirlwind of emotion and experience, and I feel like it's got your head spinning here. And I also feel like that's why you're in this energy of feeling very trapped, is it's like, I feel like this didn't have time to develop, or I feel like, we didn't really get a chance to actually build on this before things fell apart. Like there's so much, I feel like there's a lot of what ifs surrounding this. Like what if this happened, or what if I would have done this? And it's like you're looking at yourself through this lens of like, how could I have made this person like me more, want to be with me more, because of that feeling of rejection. So but this doesn't feel like rejection. So like, it doesn't feel like they rejected you necessarily. This person's energy for you. Divine timing with euphoria. And again, I kind of get this divine protection energy. This person's energy toward you. And I said it. I said I felt like there was a pattern or a cycle that they're stuck in that is blocking this, and this is karmic. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse is all about something karmic that got in the way of them investing in this. A karmic cycle of some sort. So let's, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Why are all these cards in reverse? Six of Swords in reverse, and there's the World. Yeah, they're stuck in a cycle. Okay, so let's clarify. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. What is this cycle? It could be like I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. Oh, Nine of Cups with the Fool. Okay, so this person has a habit of, okay, in the beginning of every single connection that we ever make romantically, and other forms of connection too, the intensity of the connection is really high, right? There's dopamine and there's serotonin, and there's this flood of emotions that happen, and that's really where you create a bond with the other person. But eventually things level out neurologically and energetically, and you're kind of left with the connection itself, right? Which is where the real work is done, where you're, forced to take steps in commitment and be vulnerable and open up and, allow yourself to open up to trust. And it feels like this person really, really struggles with like the real stuff. It feels like they like having these connections when they're like fun and exciting and invigorating, but then when things get real, when things get hard, it feels like for them that's really uncomfortable, so they jet. But the thing is, that's where real connections are formed, right? The surface level stuff, it is fun and it is exciting, but beyond that is where true intimacy and connection exists, and that's when you actually start to, build a relationship as like a partner. So I feel like what you're dealing with here is emotional either unavailability or immaturity, where it's almost like it's not that they don't care, and it's not that they were just using you either, because I feel like that might kind of be the way that that's coming through, and I don't want that to come through. It's control. Yeah, the Emperor in reverse. It's a fear of vulnerability. It's a fear of letting people in. It's a fear of that intimacy. And I feel like that's why most connections typically fall apart, is when all of those chemicals go away and things balance out. You kind of see each other less through the lens of the rose-colored glasses of all of that excitement, and more so like for who the person really is. And that's where things such as emotional unavailability and, things of that nature start to really surface, where you start to see, okay, what is this person's capacity? Are they good at commitment? Can they truly show up for me in the way that I deserve? And it feels like things were such a blur in the beginning, and it was so passionate and so intense that it's almost like, and I'm not blaming you, okay? I'm not saying you didn't take the time to really, think about any of those things. I feel like you just assumed that was all good because of how things felt, which is very understandable. But like when it came down to like true commitment and truly building, it feels like this person ran very fast. And that's why I feel you're in this position of like, well, what the hell went wrong? Is I feel like what you are craving is depth. You're craving commitment. You're craving that genuine connection. And that's something that this person isn't at a place like where they're capable of that. It feels like emotionally and like maturity wise, like I kind of get that this person's a little immature in some way. It's like they're not at a place where they're able to fully show up in the way that that ultimately they deserve too, right? Because at the core, everybody desires human connection. But we can't find human connection if we don't stick around long enough to allow it to develop, right? Past that surface level excitement that comes. And I feel like it's almost like this person is doing these things. I feel like they've been hurt in the past. Let me clarify this, because that's what I kind of get, especially with the some people never change. Also, you could be dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. But I feel like, because there's a page of, okay. I feel like this person's been like through certain things in the past where they've opened themselves up and they've gotten really hurt. So now they avoid that at all costs. They avoid intimacy, they avoid depth. So the reasons that they did the things that they did, the reasons that they bolted, the reasons that they made the decisions that they did is because of where they're at and their emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, emotional capacity to give and receive love and intimacy. And I think that there's a need for you to understand this, because there's two parts to this, okay? Understanding that people don't treat us the way they value us. They treat us the way that they value themselves. Like, people don't show up in alignment with our value. They show up in alignment with their value, with how they believe that they are valued. And somebody not committing to us or not choosing us or not loving us or not valuing us isn't a reflection of us. It's a reflection of where they're at, right? Especially if the emotions are there, right? We saw the euphoria, things felt really good and exciting. But if you're constantly chasing that excitement, you're never going to find yourself happy in relationships. You're always going to feel as if there's something missing, because if you're addicted to like the dopamine and the serotonin and the excitement in those connections, eventually that's going to go away again. You're left with a connection, and you're always going to, it's like the grass is always green. You're always going to search for that new beginning mentality. And I think that what happened with this person is they do that to run away from that fear of creating deeper intimacy emotionally. So it's easier for them to just choose surface level connections. And I feel like because this connection had the promise for so much depth, especially with the unlocked potentials, it's like that was something that it's something that they do desire, but it's also something that they don't literally have any idea how to go about. And our emotional capacity to give and receive love is directly dependent on our healing and how much we have learned to love ourselves at the depth that we wish to be loved. And if somebody isn't capable of loving themselves in the way that they desire to be loved and in the way that they desire to love, then they're never fully going to experience what it is that they desire. And that, I feel like, is really important on both sides, because our relationships with other people and the relationships that we attract into our life are a reflection of our relationship with ourselves and the level of love that we believe that we deserve. So when we find ourselves consistently getting disappointed and left and abandoned and betrayed, or whatever the case might be, there is something going on. There is some wound that is driving us. There's something that's asking to be healed that keeps driving us into that cycle. So I feel like this connection is trying to bring to the surface for you certain things that keep you blocked from the very love that you are deserving of. And I think that this person is a reflection of the love that you're used to, which is kind of the surface level love that you would like to develop into something more, but always seems to end in disaster, chaos, or somebody, running from the connection. So this is you're very much dealing with somebody who I feel like is running from this. And I think that you're looking at it from this place of rejection. You're looking at this connection from this place of like, they rejected me or they didn't choose me, but it's not about them rejecting you, okay? Their rejection of you is a reflection of their rejection of themselves. They don't want to meet themselves any deeper than this, which means that they're not capable of giving you the love that you desire, which means this is divine protection. And rejection is always protection, but it also is always giving us insight into something that we can address so we aren't driven back into those same cycles. Because we attract the same types of people and the same endings in relationships or the same outcomes in relationships until we heal, until we address the thing that drives us into those cycles. And I think that this connection is specifically bringing something to the surface for you that needs to be addressed and healed. So with that being said, I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into this. You have deja vu with optimism. So got excited about the connection. Things ended up the way that you're typically used to, getting disappointed, getting let down. So we're going to dive deeper into this, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Virgo, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Virgo.